Okay, newsflash, I'm gonna talk about creativity today. More specifically, I'm gonna talk about creative blocks. It's really common when you are a creative to start connecting your ability to create and your creativity to your self-worth. And while the deeper issue here and in life might be how to not do that, I don't know how to do that. So I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about how to get out of a creative block because they freak me out so much. Like, if my creativity is my identity, what am I if I'm not creative? And that's when it's good that we have like different ways to get out of a creative block. I'm gonna list a few different techniques that I use and that I've seen other people use, and they work a bit differently depending on why you're blocked, because you can have like confidence issues and not feel good enough and not feel like you can create because of that, or you can just struggle with coming up with ideas. You can have both at the same time, so just try the tips I'm gonna give you because, yeah. Number 1, stay in your comfort zone. This is kind of goes against what a lot of people say about like creativity and life, which is to go out of your comfort zone and try new things and stuff like that. And while I think that's great to grow as an artist and a person, it doesn't work in every situation. I found that going out of my comfort zone when I'm already feeling like bad at everything, I usually just feel worse. So if you're feeling blocked because you're lacking confidence, try doing something you've done before and succeeded with. Like, go through your archives and find your favorites, because if you've succeeded with this thing before, you probably will again, and that'll give you a great confidence boost, which might get you back in the game. Number 2, get out of your comfort zone. This doesn't make sense, I just said the opposite. Well, okay, let me explain. This works if you're lacking inspiration, motivation, and ideas. Because it can be really motivating to learn something new, and you can be so inspired by this new technique that you just want to create a lot of things all of a sudden, and it can really work to get you out of your creative block. So follow a tutorial, try a technique you wanted to try something entirely new. I don't know, just do something else from what you usually do. Just as a warning, this next advice might sound like the most boring advice you've ever gotten, but number 3, tidy and organize. You can just tidy your workspace, which might motivate you to create again, and you'll also like feel better about yourself because you've done something productive even if it isn't creating. The most efficient way to do this for me is to organize my materials though. This worked the best back when I was like a mixed media artist who created and crafted a lot of different things, because just going through all my junk of materials, I would find something and be like, oh, I could do this with this and combine it with this thing I found a few minutes ago, and all of a sudden I had left my room in a mess and didn't finish tidying and just created something new, which meant I had a messy room, but I was out of my creative block. This also works if you're a photographer, to just go through your folders and sort them out and like organize them. Maybe you'll find pictures that you've taken before that you didn't like give any attention that time, or you'll see something that you've created before that sparks a new idea. I don't know, whatever your way of creating is, going through whatever you need to go through and sort through might help you. So try that out if you want to. You don't have to. Okay, number 4, use prompts and challenges. This kind of ties into my last video where I talked about DoodleTube and how great creative communities and challenges are for creativity in general, but if you're blocked, they are amazing. You can either find a weekly challenge like DoodleTube, or you can find like there are tons of prompt lists on like Pinterest and the internet in general for drawing something every day or creating something every day that might help you to get started, because this means you don't have to come up with the entire idea. You're limiting yourself, which is always great when it comes to creativity. You can do this on your own. You don't even need to have a prompt list from someone else. You can just decide, I'm gonna use just the color blue this time. And number 5, experiment and play. Just try to embrace your inner child. You know, try to remember what it was like when you were a kid and you were just creating because it was fun. Or find like a game where you don't lift the pen, or you have to rhyme every sentence you say. I don't know. Just come up with some kind of game where you have to think creatively, or find a game where you have to think creatively online. Also, just playing around with your usual materials and letting the paints flow or the words flow, and just have like stream of consciousness or whatever. So the important part of this tip is to have fun. Find some way to create where you just have fun, where you don't focus on creating something useful or beautiful or whatever. Just create because it's fun and play around with stuff. And then lastly, number 6, that's a 3, I can't count. Accept that it's okay to not be creative every day. You don't have to go all the way and try to disconnect your sense of self-worth from your ability to create and produce, but just accept that today is a day where I'm not creative. Today is a day where I'm gonna watch Netflix or I'm gonna read a book. I don't know, whatever you want, and try again the next day. Because if you put too much pressure on yourself, you have to get out of this creative block right now, or else the world is ending. You won't get out of it. You will just put so much pressure on this single creative moment that it'll just stop you even more. I just want to say that creative blocks are not permanent. They happen to everyone, but it will pass. Doing any of these things might just speed up the process or get you going again, but sometimes it doesn't work. But don't put too much pressure on yourself. That's all I want to say. If this video helped you in any way, or if you found it interesting, or if you have any advice of your own, please tell me in the comments, because I would love to know. And that was it for this time. I filmed this video twice now in a row because I had my jacket out inside out the first time and it looked stupid. So yeah, I'm a great video maker.